If you're playing CT side and you've lost some map control that makes you susceptible to getting pushed from 2 different directions at once, you should commit to either fighting or taking space in one of the areas. There's just no way if you stay put and like fucking, oh, spray down these guys, then come over here and kill this guy. No, it's not gonna happen. Stop. Here's what this usually looks like. You're playing CT side and you've lost a mid control in the early or mid round. Maybe the T's are up a player, or maybe you're even 4-4. You don't know exactly where all the T's are, but you know they've taken mid, and you're now vulnerable to some kind of late round mid wrap or split push. So staying here, if you're the site player, is untenable, right? They could come from here, they could come from here. It's just not a good situation. So something you might want to do is aggress into main. And if you do that, you know, one of 2 things can happen, right? You push and you die to a guy here. Not ideal, but maybe you've gathered some info on the enemy locations a few seconds faster, and maybe you took one down with you, and your teammates might be able to rotate a little early. Or if you push and you live and maybe even kill someone, you've just gained crucial map control. If you killed someone on the way, you've either worked toward equalizing or going up in numbers. And if you didn't, they probably have no idea that you're here unless you flashed it or ran in. Having this map control can either enable a super fast flank if they start to hit the opposite bomb site, or an incredibly easy retake as your positioning enables your team now to crunch the T's from multiple angles on the retake, which is exactly why you gain this map control, in order to avoid happening to you. So here's a couple examples I want to show from my recent pugs to show you guys how this is like, it happens all the time and it's super applicable. This is not like a niche situation. It happens all the time. So in this clip, we're playing Ancient. I am one of the mid players. I lose a teammate mid, and we also lose a teammate A. ICOM, I'm gonna get crunched here. I'm completely on an island here toward A, so I take the risk to walk into A main and get this control back. I'm playing close on this smoke. In this round, since one of my teammates just died in A main, I know that they probably won't be expecting me here. I can also confirm that they're going A due to being able to hear the footsteps in Donut from main. Donut. Planning A. I get a completely free kill on this T, trying to run back main to play post plant and clutch up the round.
Oh, CT.
He's not getting it.
In this clip, I'm anchoring B on Dust 2. We lose our mid player, go down 4v5, and realize that I am now susceptible to a B crunch. It honestly takes me a while here to come to the right decision, and this ends up being pretty sloppy. But I spot a guy trying to cross to window, get that kill, almost get traded out, sprint into main, and somehow kill this guy. Now I have full tons control, and we can retake B 3v1 from 2 directions, making this basically unlosable. I didn't end up being a factor in the post plant here, but getting those 2 kills and living was key to winning the round.
Smoke here.
This can be even more effective if you do it with a teammate. I feel like when CTs go down numbers, especially like beginner, intermediate, players are super reluctant to give up like eyes on any part of the map. But I think a lot of the time, even in disorganized pugs, it's way better to just give up mid fully, for example, if you've already lost the control, and group up and fight for an extremity with one of your site players. Like, this simple thing, if you just recognize it in the moment and recognize when it's applicable, can win you a ton of rounds that you would have otherwise lost. It's not hard to do it. You just need to notice when you should do it. At its simplest level, the concept is just, if you lose some map control, you should look to gain it elsewhere. All right, so how could you take advantage of this on T side? It's pretty simple. If you like to lurk on the extremities and your team has taken some control and gone up numbers, well, look out, because the CTs might try to push you to take back some map control. So if you're ready for it, you can be prepared to get the kill and not be like, oh, what a random push. No, it wasn't random. He needed to get control back because he lost it elsewhere and he was trying to gain advantageous positioning. So if you just like are aware of that a little bit, you can be more ready for a guy walking into your crosshair here, or getting flashed in by his buddy, or two guys, you know, fully giving up mid, for example, and double pushing. So just being aware that this can happen, and it's something that you might want to do on CT side, can help you be ready for it happening to yourself. So something really important I forgot to mention when recording that about how this applies to T side is if you are in the pack taking mid control and you decide to run into cameras and take A, if there's no A player, he's probably in A main. So clear that shit out, or like plant for CT or heaven or whatever. The chances that they just didn't have an A player are way less likely than the fact that the A player has maybe tried to take some space in A main. Like, yeah, it might sound risky to do all this, but if you lose space or if you go down players, you want to be taking a risk to get back into the round. So if you are ready and cognizant of the risk taking that CTs might be making before it happens, you can be ready to handle it. So another way this like sort of applies, but is also kind of a different thing. Here, let me change the map to Ancient because I feel like it's easy to demonstrate here. Okay, you're playing Ancient. You want to go B, right? You smoke short, you smoke long, you plant the bomb, and you go ramp. You're going to lose the post plant. You are going to lose the post plant if you play it from ramp, because they can come from here, they can come from here, they can come from here, they can come from here and just swarm you. This is a tiny little choke point. They can dump util on you, they can smoke you off. You have no post plant control. And if you're on like an eco round, you know, whatever, you just want to get the bomb planted. But you need either cave or you need long. Maybe instead for your site exec, you can smoke short, you could molly default, you could flash over. Maybe you have a guy mollying long. I don't have a real lineup for that, but whatever. You trade out here, you get the bomb down, then you want to take long. I don't know what that flash is either, but you want to take long with your team. Maybe you clear out close, you smoke deep, and then you chuck a molly here, and look, now you're holding onto long control. So the CTs have to walk through this smoke. Maybe you have some people ramp, and you're suddenly in a really, really good post plant because you have control. And just to be perfectly clear, I'm not saying this is the only way to play B post plant. You could hang on to cave, for example. You could have a setup in here. You could have some guys sight as well. You could have some guys long in sight. Like, just you need some control is what I am trying to emphasize here. If you just play sight at ramp, it's not going to work. If you just play sight behind this, it's not going to work. They could dump util, they could crunch you from so many different angles. If you just play sight and ramp even, that's not probably going to work either most of the time. You need control. If you close yourself off completely to even the possibility of having the control, and you're just stuck in sight or stuck in sight and ramp, it's probably not going to work. And I think you can reasonably extrapolate this to the other sites and other maps. And guess what? It doesn't require you being a cracked one-tapped spray transfer god donk level aimer. It just requires using your brain. And you could start putting this stuff in your game like immediately after watching this. So I don't know, this is just some stuff I've been thinking about that I've been seeing in my games. Not an expert here, just trying to pass along knowledge that's been passed along to me by better players that is pretty easy to implement and can have a huge impact on the way that your rounds play out. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching as always, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.